Hello and welcome to Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC.
A weekly podcast and YouTube channel where we discuss all things Wrexham.
So sit back, put your feet up, relax and let's get stuck in. Hello and welcome to episode 149 of Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
We're back.
We're back.
Past the pasture, just move on.
Yep.
Happy?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Before we start, I just want to say we had so many messages last week. Thank you very much for all the messages, all the comments.
The nice ones.
The nice ones. And we're not going to read any comments out this week just because of the sheer level of comments that we got. We haven't had a chance to sort of get them all together and put them all together, but thank you very much. One major apology to Peter. Peter actually messaged me directly and I haven't actually replied to that yet, so apologies, Peter. I will get round to messaging you back, but we've just had so many this week, it's just been a bit mental, really, isn't it? So coming up on this week's show, we got some important club news to go through. The Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC awards. We're going to talk about Welcome to Wrexham, a little bit of transfer info and rumours. We promised that we're going to look at 2 championship clubs every week. We're going to start that this week. We're going to look at Oxford United and Millwall. We've got the quiz. So we're just going to crack on with that, I think, pretty much. 2 more championship teams were confirmed as well. Not the ones we're going to talk about. So Bristol City lost their semi-final against Sheffield United.
Yep.
And also Coventry got knocked out by a last-minute goal by Sunderland. I don't know how I feel about that because I really want to go to Sunderland. So I really like Sunderland, but I don't want them to win at the same time because I really want to play them next season to go up to Sunderland.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to go back to Coventry. Obviously, we went there in the National League for the FA Cup. We had a really good day out.
It would be good to play them again, to be fair, after our last meeting with them.
Yes, yeah, it would. That'd be really good.
On level playing field this time.
Yeah, well, it didn't matter last time. We beat them anyway. So there you go.
Very true.
Okay, look, news. Let's start with that. Quite a bit since the last time we were on air. Just another quick apology as well. It is absolutely El Scorcho in the UK at the moment. So if you are watching on YouTube, you might have to deal with my bare legs because I'm wearing shorts because it's boiling. So I do apologise for that.
Lovely legs they are too.
Yeah. Look, let's start with Stephen Fletcher.
Oh, I'm gutted. So many people are gutted about this one. And a little bit of a shock, if I'm honest.
Little bit of a shock and a little bit of a not a shock, I think.
Massive shock for me. There was no shock for me. It was a big shock.
There was no shock.
There was no shock. It was shocking.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was definitely a question that was rolling around in my head was, do we offer Stephen Fletcher a 1-year extension, or do we need that squad space now for somebody going into the Championship that is going to, if necessary, play 90 minutes week in, week out, which I think we're all pretty much aware Stephen wasn't able to do. But the impact that he made when he came on was so huge that that's anyone else that it wouldn't even be a question. It'd be like, you've got to release them and you've got to free up that squad space for somebody. But the impact he's had, I think for me, that created that question of whether I'm going to say it. I think he is possibly one of my favourite ever Wrexham players. One of. He is definitely up there. And it's so strange because I think if you add up all of his minutes, he only played the equivalent of something like 25 games. If you
and
added,
he only scored 8 goals in the
this season.
I think it was like 40 games he's played in total.
Yeah, look, I don't. Yeah, but what I mean is, if you add all the minutes up, it equates to
this
25.
Season?
No, since he
really?
came over 2 seasons. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but
That's mad.
still, cult hero. I think because the nature of what he was doing was coming on late. So, because of the goals that he got, they were obviously naturally late goals, and a lot of them were really important.
Yeah.
And just like
That's
I said,
why it's a shock, because
just became a cult hero.
Yeah.
And they're definitely one of my favourite ever Wrexham players, I would say, in my time.
I think reading some of the comments from the players as well, when he posted his Instagram post the other day saying that he was leaving, and he said it wasn't by choice.
I know that makes makes it more sad. I think
it does.
When
yeah.
I don't want to go.
He wants to be here, but I think he had, not only did he have an impact on the pitch, but I think he also had an impact in the dressing room as well.
Yeah.
With a lot of the comments that were coming out, people just saying that it was just it's been a pleasure working with him, and I think I'm gonna throw this out there.
Yeah.
This is on par. With Luke Young going.
Really?
Yeah.
For you?
For me, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dagger, really, isn't it? That he's just sort of, it's tough. It's a hard one to take, even though I understand why. For the reasons I've already mentioned, I understand that. One that I think wasn't a massive shock was probably Chomp going. AG is, but we did release another 2 goalkeepers, so there's 3 in total.
Quite a young one as well. Liam Hall's quite a young.
Yeah, Liam Hall's gone. Brad Foster's gone as well, and Chomp's obviously gone. One thing Chomp did say is he feels he's got more games in him.
Not hanging his gloves up just yet.
No, not just yet. And I think with someone like Stephen Fletcher and someone like Chomp, you sort of wish that they'd gone, okay, enough's enough, and I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to do some coaching badges, or I'm going to, and I'm going to stay involved in the club and pass on all of the knowledge that I've got, because Chomp's played in some huge games. Same, for Fletch as well, has played in some huge games, and there's a lot of wisdom to impart, I think.
And which is why I said that Stephen Fletcher had an impact in the dressing room, because of all that wisdom that he's got. Yeah,
another one who's gone as well, Jordan Davis.
Yeah, this was a bit of a, I don't know, it was a bit, because, he's one of our own.
I know.
But he has been out on loan to Grimsby.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they going to sign him?
I don't know. Look, it's another tough one to take, not in the sense of he's been playing a lot recently, because he has been injured, he has been out on loan, we haven't seen him a lot, but it's very much it's that whole emotional attachment that he has to the club and we have to him, because he's local, because he's, from just down the road. And yeah, that was a difficult one to take. But again, I don't think there's any decision that was made that I don't understand in the release list so far. Josh Adam went as well. Liam Hall, we mentioned. Harry Dean, Brad Foster. Mullin to Wigan is another potential that's been thrown out there. I did actually mention, I was on a Wigan podcast without you, weirdly, and I did say I felt like if Mullin was going to go, I did sort of feel like Wigan might be a good fit for him, where they are at the moment, and also the geographically, I thought it was a good fit for him. He obviously left Cambridge to come to us because
he wanted to be near home.
Wigan's just down the road, and I think in a lot of ways it works, but he does have time left on his contract. It would be a sale, or it would be mutually agreed that we terminate his contract for him to leave. It just depends where Parky and the club are on Paul, because we've heard stories that he's not being left out because of anything that he's not good enough as such. We've heard stories that it is recurrence of his back problem that he's having, and that he isn't quite fully up to speed. But that's
so the physio department or medical department haven't signed him off fully, I think, is
that's what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Whether that's true, we don't know at this moment in time. But it's suck it and see, I think. So huge thank you to Chomp, Fletch, Jordan, and the others who've gone for the service, because this is the horrible time of the season.
Right.
I think it could have been worse in a released list.
Yeah, I was quite and
I think I can justify all of them in my head. Which
doesn't make it easier though, does it? For
I
the
think
likes
it
of Chomp and Fletcher.
No, it does make it a bit easier, I think.
Yeah.
Because you can justify it. It's still hard, but you can justify it, I think, a little bit. It's just now whether we're touting some of the others who have contracts left to run out to teams to maybe sell, and I think we can't assume these are the only players that are going to leave.
Well, Sam Dalby, he was offered a contract extension or a new contract, but he actually declined it, so he's another one that's actually going as well.
Yeah, Sam's going. He declined it in January.
Yeah.
We found out recently, which we sort of assumed that was the case because there was lots of rumours in January. We needed a striker. Obviously, we ended up buying Sam. Jay obviously came in as well. And so we were under the impression that perhaps we were going to extend his contract. That was offered to him and he turned it down. So Sam's going to be off as well.
He's doing exceptionally well at Dundee United.
Scored again on the weekend.
He scored 15 goals in the time that he's been there.
Yeah.
Which I think is more than what he scored when he was with Wrexham.
Yeah.
That's not a factual. That's not a fact.
That's not factual. No,
it's not a fact.
Something you've just made up in your head. I can't say yes or no to that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's true, but he's doing really well. So hopefully, Dundee United obviously think something of him and will keep him in their squad. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, good luck to Sam because I think he's built a really good platform up in Scotland. So we'll have to wait and see on that.
Scots love him.
They do.
Well, the Welsh love him as well.
Yeah,
and the English, I think. I don't know.
Look, season tickets finally been released, which is a massive plus.
Good for you.
Yeah. So pricing 400 in the tech end, 435 in the Macron and the Wrexham Lager, £95 discount for under 21s and over 65s. Under 18s were 161, under 11s were 46. I'll put that, there's a bit of a caveat to that. It was under 11s they actually released on their website. As it turns out, it's under 14s, not under 11s. So our son's season ticket actually went down in price, which is great for us. 435 for me is amazing. It's a £61 increase on last season, and that's for Championship football. Zero complaints from me. I think that's fantastic.
I don't think anyone's complaining about that, to be honest.
If they are, they need to give their head a wobble because that's brilliant. That is absolutely fantastic. The one problem, as you sort of mentioned, is you can't renew your season ticket
at this moment in time.
At this moment in time.
Yeah, so where Ryan and his dad, my brother Alfie, and my nephew Zach sit, I do sit there because sometimes there's seats available around them, but my seat is actually just across the way from them. And I think last season I had the same email saying that they were going to be moving the dugout. Well, they didn't say what they were doing, but I believe they're moving the dugout from the Wrexham Lager stand over to the Macron stand. And my seat is smack bang in the middle of where that's going to be. So they've sent me an email, but then obviously they decided not to do it last season. But they've sent another email this season, and they've said that they are going to be relocating my seat. I'm hoping it's going to be in the Macron stand, because if it's not, then I'll be on my own, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I think that's just really silly, because obviously,
Yeah, it's an awkward situation. We will keep you abreast of what's going on with Sean, but it's
quite stressful because
I can
I don't
imagine.
want to stop going.
No.
Just for that fact, and I don't...
No, look, we'll see what happens, I think.
Yeah.
But, I think this sort of stuff is going to happen, and it is going to continue to happen, as we redevelop the ground. One concern is, like, if you take Man City, for example.
Yeah.
So where I sit, and my dad sit, and our son sits, we are going to be right next to the dugouts, like literally next to. There will be no seats between us and the dugouts.
That's exciting.
That's a little bit exciting, yeah. But like if you take Man City's ground as an example, all around the dugouts is corporate seating. It's the padded seat lot who pay a lot more for their tickets to be around the dugout than everybody else in the ground does. So there is the concern. Obviously, it's hit you this season. There's the concern as we grow over the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years. Is my seat going to get turned into some sort of corporate seat? Look, you don't know. It is a concern.
No, but I mean, they haven't got corporate seating around the dugout in the Wrexham Lager stand.
No. But you're talking about a stand that's been serving National League, League Two, League One. As we grow and continue to grow, it is a concern, I think, moving forward. Another big announcement was they're doing in the upper tier of the what's it actually called?
It's called the Stoke Coffee Brew, whatever. But
stand, yeah. So
the tech end, isn't it? Or uni end.
Yeah. So that is going to be. They're going to have safe standing, so rail seating, which we have experienced at Birmingham. That's right. Yeah, we were there, and it's really good actually.
It is
handy because a lot of people in this tech end stand anyway, so they've created rail seating there, so that people can stand, and you've got like a little barrier in front of you that stand and you can lean on. It's great. I love rail seating. I think it's really good, and I think that's what's going to be in the the new COP, isn't it? So moving forward,
they sent an email out, didn't they, last season saying under no circumstances are fans allowed to stand during the game. And I think because obviously the tech end is renowned for people standing, especially the end that's by the away fans.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very sensible thing because you're not going to stop people from standing. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, the 2025-26 season will kick off over weekends of the 1st to the 3rd in League One and League Two, which obviously
doesn't concern us
anymore.
No.
And the 8th to the 10th of August in the Championship. So Wrexham season will kick off on either the 8th, the 9th, or the 10th of August.
We kicked off on August the 10th last season. Oh, no, we didn't.
I don't know when it was.
Bolton was on the 10th of August.
So we were a week before.
Week before that.
Yeah. So there,
it's about the same, isn't it?
There we go. That's exciting. It's been...
You're very talkative today.
Sorry. Do you want to butt in? No, you're all right with me chatting.
I'm all right for now, but, give me a chance.
Okay, all right. Look, we knew it was happening. But the tour of Australia and New Zealand has been officially announced. So there'll be 3 games, July the 11th, the 15th and the 19th, where they will play Melbourne Victory at Marvel Stadium, Sydney FC at the Allianz Stadium, and then over to New Zealand, where they will play Wellington Phoenix at the Sky Stadium. I think it's fantastic for the Australian fan base. We obviously know Chris really well.
He's gutted because they're not going to Perth.
Yeah,
he's in Perth.
You sort of think sometimes, I say, Chris, obviously he's over in Australia, but Perth to where they're playing, it might as well be a million miles away because it is so far. But you sort of forget how big Australia, and you just go, Australia,
Doesn't look that big on the map, does it? But it's huge.
It's massive. Yeah. So look, I think it's really good. I have a sneaking suspicion. We've done America twice. We've done Canada. Obviously, we played in Vancouver last year. We've now moved on to Australia.
Where to next? next?
I feel
Asia.
Asia is the next logical step.
Well, the women's team are in Asia at the moment, aren't they?
They
so,
are.
Yeah.
They're playing in Hong Kong at the moment.
And doing fantastically well.
Really well. So I think that's the next logical step for the team to move into Asia. I'm going to have to preempt you. I've always wanted to go to Japan. You know that. And if they do end up playing in Japan next year, that might have to be a consideration. Just to warn you.
How long does it take on the plane to Japan?
We'll talk about that another time.
If it's not 2 hours, I'm out.
Interestingly, talking about flights, this is nothing to do with football, but I thought I'll just throw it out there. I'm scared of flying. So
It's only a recent thing, though.
I had a really bad experience on a flight. I flew in a storm. Back from Belfast years ago.
On a propeller plane.
And it was it was horrendous. It was one of them moments in your life where I genuinely thought, I'm going to die.
You're not going to see us again.
No, I am, and it was that bad. And I didn't fly for years and years and years after that. And then when we started flying again, I realised I was very scared of flying. So
weirdly though. Sorry to interrupt, but weirdly, I'm quite an anxious person.
Yeah.
And when we went on, because I used to love flying.
Yeah.
We used to go to America and loads of different places. That was quite a way away when I was younger. Loved it. But then for some reason, my adult mind just thought of horrible, anxious thoughts. And I got really thingy. But weirdly, because you're scared, and obviously Alfie had never been on a plane until about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I had to thought, right, I'm going to have to suck this up because
Yeah.
Ryan's scared of flying.
Yeah.
Alfie's never been on a plane before. Turns out he absolutely loves it, so it's not an issue. So I had to be the strong one, and usually you're the strong one out of us.
I know. So I'm actually I'm trying. I'll keep you updated, but I'm trying. I'm having some hypnotherapy. To actually see if I can cure my fear of flying. Huh?
Not the funny kind of hypnotherapy.
Not the funny, no.
He's not going to be coming out and every time someone says the word chicken.
No.
Can you imagine? That was so funny.
Yeah. So Japan might be a cinch for me. If it works, though, you could have a little crack, to get rid of your fear of being on a plane for a long time. Maybe.
Or just a fear of living, really. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one thing. Sorry, deviated. But one thing Phil did say is he said we'll be looking at a couple of fixtures when we come back from Australia and New Zealand,
which they didn't do last season.
We will announce. Yeah, they did. Yeah, we played Fleetwood at the racecourse last season.
We did. We were on holiday, I think, weren't we?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Possibly, yeah. A couple of fixtures when we come back, which will be announced over the next few weeks. I expect both to be away to give the pitch renovation the maximum opportunity. That was in the leader this week. Everton's been rumoured, but I'm not sure about that one. I don't know why that one's been thrown out there. But that's been rumoured a little bit. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. We're not going to speculate on that. We will keep you updated.
So the awards.
Yes.
I'm going to cut in there because you've talked non-stop since we started for 23 minutes. So our Me, the Wife and Wrexham AFC awards. Obviously, they had the season awards, obviously, the official ones.
Yeah.
But we've done our own. So we sent out a post. We put out a post with the categories. That's
four categories, wasn't it?
4 categories. So we had player of the season, young player of the season, goal of the season, and game of the season.
I think we'll go in reverse order on these, and we'll leave player to last. So
there's no big shocks to these either. By the way,
there isn't. So. Game of the season. I tell you one thing we did say last year when we were doing this. We said we were going to have a little drum roll. And we are 12 months on. Still no drum roll.
Well, we know who to blame for that, don't we?
Maybe if I do. So game of the season, as voted for by you, was...
That's lame.
Well, we'll see how it sounds.
The home game against Charlton.
No huge shock.
No, it was a massive game, wasn't it?
I think everything about it. A few people said Blackpool away.
Which I think because of that, I think the reason why that was because the lads really, they were so up for it on that day.
We really took a grip of a promotion push in that game, and they were superb in that. And I get that. I understand why it's Charlton. I would say it was one of, if not the best performance of the season.
Yep.
From the first minute to the 90th minute, they were excellent. We put a team. And you okay there?
Yeah, I'm just adjusting my mic.
Okay. Well, I think we really put a team that was in form to the sword.
Yeah.
The emotion that was connected to that game, ending up on the pitch at the end, securing promotion. It was not a shock at all that was game of the season for me. So thanks for voting for that.
Just realised something. You don't need to do. You could just add a drum roll in when you're doing the editing.
I've done this now, so I'm gonna have to.
Well.
So anyway, Sian, goal of the season goes to. This is so lame. Stop it. I'm not doing it. It might sound amazing. I'm gonna guess that does not sound amazing.
It doesn't sound amazing here, so I can't imagine it does on the recording. Anyway,
Possibly not.
So goal of the season. This goes to no other than Mr. Paul Mullen for his goal on Boxing Day in 2024 against Blackpool.
Yeah, great goal.
I could definitely do the Oscars.
Yeah.
I could announce the Oscars.
We should have got an envelope, really, but I think it was only ever between two.
Yeah.
I think it was Jack's goal against Wickham.
Oh, no, okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Maybe three. Jack's goal against Wickham or Paul's goal against Blackpool for me. Were you going to throw another one in the mix?
I was going to throw Sam's cycle kick, or whatever you call it, in the Charlton game.
Bicycle, darling, not cycle.
Oh, sorry.
Bicycle.
Bike
kick.
Bake.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give you...
What's bicycle kick in Welsh?
Kick bake.
Kick bake. That's yeah, I like that. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. It's...
Ryan hates me when I go off topic.
No, I don't. I've been talking about hypnotherapy, so let's not go. Again, I'm not sure it was a massive shock. I think my game of the season was Charlton, and I think my goal of the season was probably Paul's.
Sam.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think
I couldn't see Paul's; it was too foggy.
Yeah, well, there was that. I think for me, it was Paul's first, then Jack's, then Sam's.
Jack's was impressive, to be fair, but he won goal of the month, didn't he, for that goal, Jack?
He did. I think Paul won goal of the month for his as well.
Yeah,
so
they haven't done one for.
They might have done, but it's been so hectic. I've got no idea if I'm perfectly honest. Anyway. We'll breeze through this. The drum roll is stopping, and now I'm stopping it. I will be gutted if it does sound really good.
I would just do it just in case.
Would you?
I would.
Okay, so young player of the season is
none other than Maxi Cleworth.
I mean,
apart from Harry Ashfield, there is no one else that I think it could go to.
Arthur's the other one who would...
See, I don't think of him as young. It's so
he's
weird.
Younger than Max, though.
I know, but cause he's so tall, you just think he's older.
No, look, massively deserved. I couldn't have ever seen it being anyone else. Massive performances this season. He's still coming on leaps and bounds, and I think he's only going to get better, if I'm perfectly honest.
I think he'll definitely come to his... I mean, he's come to his own in all the other leagues, but Championship, I think it will be like, whoa, we have got such a talent with this guy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. 100%. And finally, player of the season, as voted for by you, is...
the happiest man.
Oh, you didn't let me do me drum roll.
I apologise, sorry.
Well, we say it's a drum roll.
The happiest... So the player of the season goes to the happiest player on the pitch, none other than Mr. Ollie Rathbone.
I mean... Again, one of... He 100% my player of the season.
Yeah.
I couldn't have imagined giving it to anybody else. He is just relentless.
He is.
And fully deserving of the official player of the season, the Wife and Wrexham AFC player of the season. Just nobody better.
Talking of Ollie Rathbone, I remember seeing comments when he came over to us. Everybody was like... he's not going to do anything for you. He's, he likes to run, but, well, Aren't you eating your words now?
Yeah,
he's done a lot for Wrexham.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it's the first name on the team sheet for me every week, I would say. It's just absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
Let's have a little chat about Welcome to Wrexham. I think we'll talk a bit more about Welcome to Wrexham in future weeks. But obviously we had the first 2 episodes. It'll be 1 episode a week after
I think
this.
that's what they do, isn't it?
Yeah, so 2 episodes, 45 minutes each.
They're not long enough.
No, I know. It's strange. What did you make as a whole of the 2 episodes that we got to see this week?
It was all right, yeah. I liked it.
Just all right?
Well, no, I mean, our good friend Nigel was on there.
Nigel's on there.
Because obviously we know Nigel listens or watches our podcast, I kind of spoiled it for him.
Oh, because he hadn't seen it.
He hadn't seen it. He was in London with his wife, and I messaged him because he put something on, but I can't remember what he put on. I think it was a season ticket, and I put on. I said, "Can we have your autograph?" And he was like, "Not seen it yet. I'm assuming I'm on it." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Nigel. I'm so sorry I spoiled it for you. But you were on it a couple of times.
Yeah.
So if you still haven't watched it, then I'm sorry again."
Yeah. Sky was on it as well. We saw Sky on it.
Yes.
I tell you someone else who was on it at the start. Me. I was on it again. So technically back-to-back episodes because it was in the last one of the last series.
Someone actually commented saying that back-to-back episodes.
Yeah.
And our another good friend of the show, Tim, sent us a message because they obviously see it before because he's in America, so they see it the day before we do.
Well, technically, because it comes out at 9 o'clock in America, but then it's released at like 2 in the morning here, which is the same time. Just no one really is staying up till 2 in the morning to watch it.
So he sent us a screenshot of Ryan crying at last season's
it was
promotion
it was
game.
Nothing new, was it? It was just a recap of the end of last season, which I was on, and they just showed it.
Didn't Alfie say to you as well? Didn't he? Some of his friends say that you were on it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. We had a little bit in there. We had the dreaded C word, consolidation. We talked about that a little bit.
That was quite funny, that.
Yeah, it was
conversation between Mike Williamson, the finance director, and Rob and Ryan, because they were like, I can't say the word because it's swearing.
No, I mean, it was quite interesting that they had that conversation of, do we go for it or do we stick? And they've just gone, let's go for it. Mm-hmm. And fair play, because it potentially could have been quite catastrophic if we hadn't have got it. But, it's nice to know for me that we've got owners who are going to back what we've got and are going to go, let's push. Let's go for it.
That's what the episode was called, wasn't it? Oh no, All In it was called.
Was it?
It was called All In, yeah.
Yeah, but I think from the first episode, I sort of gathered that it's blatantly obvious that our infrastructure is well behind where we are. We have far. Our success has far outweighed the development that we would have hoped to have made by getting to the championship.
Yeah.
The fact how ridiculous it is that the players are training in one place, getting in their car, travelling to another place just to have a shower after training.
Surely there's showers there.
There is, and I do have a bit of an issue there with Colliers Park because it's, I don't understand why we're having to do that, but at the end of the day, it's not our training ground, and that is something that does seriously need to be looked at, because if you do go, we're going to push again, all right, and let's say in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, you get to the Premier League, you need a training ground,
100%.
Because to be able to draw the level of player that you need to be in the Premier League and survive in the Premier League, if one of the conversations you have is, we don't have a training ground, we train there.
This is the players you're talking about.
We train there and we have to travel here.
Yep.
There are players at that level who are going to go,
ridiculous.
What?
Yeah.
No, do you know what? Keep your wages, keep your signing on bonus. I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous. Because it's so weird and something I've never thought about is, you know, because we did focus on Mike quite a bit in the first episode, and he said, you know, there'll be a day when you've got players driving down Crispin Lane in their Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff, and that sort of blew my mind, that bit. And yeah, and I never really thought of that, but it's, you know, it's something that we're getting towards now,
yeah.
and it's something that's a real possibility, you know, in the not too distant future. And I just hope, you know, because they touched on the COP, you know, we need that infrastructure to catch up now. And you're never going to get a manager or players to consolidate. You're never going to get that message is never going to get across. They're always going to be pushing for it. And
if we do end up just staying where we are, fine.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get, like you said, the players aren't going to go, right, lads, I think we'll just have a few games.
You're going to
stick.
Just stay,
we'll just stick to it.
It's just about the quality of player that you have and what you can draw in, and which is going to be very interesting in the summer. You know, because the second episode touched on, we had the season opener against Wickham, obviously. It touched on Birmingham. You know, obviously
they were
the Tom Brady thing and all that, and you know just how much money they had spent and their wage bill, which, you know, it would have been more of a disaster for them had they not gone up than it would have been for us, I think, you know, based on how much they'd spent. But yeah, for me, 2 very solid episodes. I go through a weird little journey with Welcome to Wrexham. I go through periods where I feel like the stories get in the way of the football, okay? Because I just want to watch the football and that. But then...
That's the point.
Yeah, but then this episode, these 2 episodes, I went the other way, where I sort of felt like the football was getting in the way of the stories, because I really enjoyed the stories. You know, the Ukrainian coffee shop, the guys who come over from Ukraine, I really enjoyed that. And, you know, the stuff with Mike Williamson in the first episode, I really enjoyed that. So I do go on this weird little journey, really, where I'm like, oh, can we just have a little bit less of that, because I want to watch the football, and which is very... The highlights can be very Hollywood-esque at times with the dramatic music and stuff like that. But, you know the games that are coming. But this time I'm more interested in the stories than the football. I don't know why, and I can't explain that. But I was more invested in the stories this time, I think.
For me, the Ukrainian coffee shop story with the family that... basically had no choice but to get out of the Ukraine, and they came over to Wrexham, and they are making a life for themselves over here. And I said that when we're in Wrexham, in the town centre, we would definitely be popping in, because
it's not somewhere we've been.
No.
It's been open for a while, and weirdly, I'm not going to lie, we didn't actually know it was there.
No.
And the main reason that we didn't is it is in an area of town, so it's right by for anybody who's not from Wrexham, it's right by the church in Wrexham, sort of just across the road. And it's an area of town, when I was thinking about it, that we just don't go.
But they've redeveloped everything over there now.
Yeah, so we just don't go there because it's not a thoroughfare to anywhere.
Not really.
When we're walking to games, for example, or we go into town, we'll walk a certain way, and it sort of cuts out that part of time. So we never actually knew it was there, but we will definitely.
And they make amazing cakes.
Yes,
they do.
They look good.
They do.
I am on a diet at the moment.
I'm not.
Because holidays coming up, I like to lose a little bit of weight and eat healthy, and I've eaten horribly for months and months since Christmas, I'm not going to lie. So I'm trying to get a bit healthier and eat a bit healthier. And a lot of, during the summer on the podcast, I do like to wear all of my old shirts. So this week I'm wearing my 2010-2011 shirt. A lot of them shirts over the last couple of weeks, I've tried them on. A lot of them don't fit me, so that is another reason why I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. So we'll leave it for a few weeks before we go and have a cake, I think, because I'm doing well. So
I'm off work next week, so I might go with my mum.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a bit of transfer news. I'm gagging in again because you're just relentless. So a bit of transfer news. The EFL today has confirmed.
Not today. But they have confirmed. You're correct.
The EFL have confirmed the opening and closing dates for the 2025 summer transfer window. So it opens on Sunday, the 1st of June. Apologies. And it's open, my birthday, to Tuesday, the 10th of June, 7 p.m. UK time.
Yes.
It closes then on Tuesday, the 10th of June, my birthday, at 7:01 p.m. And that's until the 16th of June, which is a Monday, until 1 minute past midnight. And then it reopens again on Monday, the 16th of June, and it closes then the final time for the summer season, for the summer transfer, on September the 1st at 7 p.m.
So the reason for this, just to explain very quickly, because we're not going to dwell on it, there's a Club World Cup this year. So normally what would happen, the transfer window would open on, let's say, the 16th of June, and it would be open until the 1st of September. And that's it. They've installed an extra week. So from a week and a bit. So from the 1st of June until the 10th of June, it will be open, and then it will close then for a week and then reopen again. So that just allows players, teams who are in the Club World Cup to sign players before the Club World Cup starts.
Yeah.
That is the reason that it's like that. I'm going to talk about very briefly, because this will just go on all summer. We've been linked heavily with two players this week. So Tom Kearney is the first one. Midfielder.
Scottish, isn't he?
He is, yes. So he's a midfielder. He's 34. Some may say too old, but there we go. He's currently at Fulham. He's out of contract in the summer, why we've been linked with him. He's the club captain at Fulham. Andreas Pereira's sort of taken his spot, so he's not playing that much at the moment. He's been there since 2015, 352 appearances, 46 goals. His career has involved 142 games in the Premier League and 318 in the Championship. Estimated wages are somewhere between 30 and 50,000, although I have heard as high as 70,000. So
I've heard 50,000.
Yeah, so that's somebody that we are interested. It's sort of the caliber. It gives you an insight as to what we're going to be looking at. I think players with potentially Premier League and Championship experience, players who are coming out of contract that we don't have to pay a transfer fee for. Because if you imagine, you look at a player who might cost £3 million. If you can then look at getting a player who's coming to an end of a contract, what you're ultimately doing is saving yourself £3 million. You can then inject that £3 million into that player's wages. So potentially by getting players who are coming out of contract, you can attract a higher level of player because you can invest more of the money that you would have spent on a transfer fee into their wages. Just a little insight for you as to why potentially we'll be looking at players like this. The other one is Davis Keillor-Dunn. This is a bit more, for me, unlikely.
Okay.
But
he's already played for Wrexham, hasn't he, before?
Yeah, he's only played 6 games for Wrexham. That was in 2020. He left us. He went to Mansfield. Was fantastic for Mansfield. He's currently at Barnsley, but he is in contract for another 2 years, which is why I think possibly doesn't fall into the right bracket and perhaps maybe not someone we'll look at, but who knows? We don't know at the moment. We don't know what the transfer strategy is going to be. He was nominated for League One Player of the Season this season, just gone, along with Richard Coney, who obviously went on to win it. He scored against us as well when we lost away at Oakwell. He scored 18 goals this season from midfield. I can see why we're interested. Good player, good age, think they might demand a decent transfer amount. So I think we'd be more inclined to look at players who are potentially out of contract rather than someone we've got to pay for. It depends what Phil wants. Do you know what I mean? Because we have also been linked with Charlie Savage,
Again.
Tom Lawrence, Lewis O'Brien, Harry Darling, John Swift. I could go on, and I could go on. So we'll see how some of these play out. But yeah, look, let's talk about two teams we're going to face next season.
So the first one we're going to talk about is Oxford United. They were founded in 1893. They play at the Kazam Stadium, which is 149 miles away from ground to ground, which is about 2 hours 50. Their capacity is 12,500. It's the smallest in the championship last season. We will be.
unless Leyton Orient win the playoff final.
We will, yeah.
So that is,
possibility.
That's a possibility. We will be the smallest ground in the championship next season.
Yeah, so their fourth stand was scrapped during construction to keep costs down.
So they've only got a 3-sided ground at the moment.
They've got a car park in the other one, haven't
they?
they?
Yeah, the fourth stand is a car park. Yeah.
They finished in 17th in the championship last season on 53 points. They promoted via the League One playoffs in 23-24 after finishing 6th, and they beat Bolton 2-0 in the final.
That's crazy, really, because they finished 6th, obviously the lowest placed team in the playoffs.
Yep.
And they won the playoffs.
Yep.
And this season, exactly the same could happen. Leyton Orient finished 6th, they could get promoted as well, which is crazy, really. But
so the last games we had with them were in 2009-2010 season, where we lost 1-0 home and away. The last game against them was in 2000. We've obviously played them recently, so that was in 2013 where we played.
Recently? You call in 2013 recently?
Yeah, it's not, is it?
No. It sounds it, but it is absolutely not recently.
Okay, so recent history then.
Okay, yeah.
Is that more? Yeah.
Okay.
So in recent history, in 2013, we played them in the FA Cup, which we lost 2-1 at the racecourse. And they're they've grown pretty steadily since their relegation to the National League in 2006. 4 seasons in National League. They spent 6 seasons in League 2, 8 seasons in League 1, and now they're in the Championship. Their nickname is the Ewes. I think they have do they have a sheep?
No, it's an ox. So they've got an ox on their badge.
The U's for United, I'm assuming.
Use, as in just a U.
Letter U. No, I know.
For United, yeah. So it's an ox. The ox represents
Oxford.
It's 2. It's ox for Oxford, but also ox because it used to be a cattle market town. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Cattle market town. Yeah, local rivals are Swindon as well. They're 33 miles up the road. So I do remember a story once that Swindon fans broke into Oxford's ground and singed.
I don't know why I'm laughing. That's actually quite bad.
Yeah, they singed STFC into their pitch. I remember that. I don't think that was that long ago, but yeah. So anyway,
they play in yellow shirts and navy shorts. Come on,
Yeah. Okay. That's literally it.
I know. I just realised that.
So the other one we're going to talk about just give you information about.
I'm scared about this one.
Is Millwall.
They've got a bit of a rep, Millwall.
Yeah,
fans especially.
They were founded in 1885. They play at the Den, which is 187 miles away in Bermondsey, southeast London. It's about 4.25 hours if you're lucky. If you're driving to the ground, God knows, a day.
12 hours.
Because you're obviously driving through London to get there. Capacity of 20,146. It's restricted by 2,000, so about 18,000, just over, for segregation reasons. It was built in 1992 to replace the old Den, which is about a quarter of a mile away. That's houses now, I think. So, yeah, it was weird. So the old one was called the Den.
Yep.
They built this one, and it was called the New Den for a bit, and then they changed it from the New Den back to the Den, and now the other one they refer to as the Old Den.
Makes sense.
Anyway.
Even though it's not there anymore.
No, they finished 8th in the Championship last season on 66 points. They were just 2 points outside the playoffs. It went down to the last day, and they lost at Burnley. They've been in the Championship for the last 8 seasons. They've finished 8th in 4 of them, which is crazy, to be honest. Last league game with them was a 1-1 draw at the racecourse in April 2001. Last away game ended in a 1-0 defeat in November 2000. So during the football hooliganism days of the 80s and 90s, Millwall's firm were one of, if not the most notorious firms around. They've got a famous chant that they sing on the terraces, which they still sing to this day, which was, "No one likes us, we don't care."
We could probably adopt that, weren't we?
We could possibly adopt that, yeah. So yeah, that's why Sean's saying, they do come with a reputation. Obviously, football hooliganism isn't the way that it was in the 80s and 90s. The Welcome to Wrexham documentary did touch on it in the first season. It still happens, away from...
But it's not as prevalent as it was
It's
back
not.
in then.
It used to be in the stands and people leaping barriers and scrapping in the stands.
Because all the people that used to be hooligans are all elderly now and they can't move.
Yeah, but like I say, it does still happen. It's just not in your face. It's a lot more underground now than it used to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think you always get quite a hostile atmosphere at Wimbledon. But that's sort of what you want when you go away. You don't...
Wimbledon.
Did I say Wimbledon?
You did say Wimbledon.
Sorry, Millwall. You want a bit
You
of...
do get hostile at Wimbledon as well.
You don't really,
I'm joking.
no. But yeah, so you want a little bit of a hostile environment. I think that makes it a little bit more exciting. Maybe not for you, and maybe not for kids, but for me, I do quite like a bit of a cauldron of an environment at a football game. I don't know. It just adds a little bit something to it, I think, for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Look, nicknames the Lions. Local rivals they're obviously in South, London. So there's a few. There's West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Charlton, the main ones. Playing blue shirts, white shorts. We've got an old foe who plays for them. Macaulay Langstaff used to play for Notts County. He's currently in Millwall, but he's not actually playing that much. They got a striker called... can't remember his first name. Ivanovic, I think his name is, something like that. He tends to play week in, week out. Macaulay's not really playing that much. Talking of old foes as well, Oxford have got one. So talking of Notts County as well, Ruben Rodriguez,
yes,
who used to play for Notts County, played against us in that sort of famous season when we got 111 points. Yep. He plays at there, so we are going to be reunited with some old foes, I think, next season, which is quite exciting. But look, I'm really excited. I can't wait to visit some of these grounds.
They're going to be massive.
Look, if you do want to get in touch with the show, we will kick off back again with all your comments and messages next week. Might even go back over some of the ones that we've had prior to this show, and throw some of them in as well. But you can comment on this YouTube video. Click on Contact the Show if you're listening on the podcast, or all the social media, Blue Sky, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or email us at wrexhamafc@gmail.com. It has felt, I'll be honest, a little bit rushed this episode, in the sense of I have talked a lot, and I apologise for that. But
story of my life.
Because we missed a week, there was so much to get through that we just had to keep chugging on and get it. Otherwise, it would have been about a 2-hour episode. Yeah. So we had to keep chugging on. Look, if you do want to support the show, you can do by buying us a coffee, and you do that by visiting buymeacoffee.com/me-the-wife. We had one this week. Linda, I think, bought us a coffee, didn't she, this week? So thank you very much to you, Linda. It is much appreciated. Quick shout out for Dragon Chat before we do the quiz. It is a mental health peer support group They run 2 weekly Zoom calls. One is on Monday at 8 p.m. and that is for women. The other is on Thursday at 7 p.m. and that is for men. Best way to find out how to get in the call, it is down in the description of this episode if you're watching on YouTube. Alternatively, go to the Wrexham AFC website, Communities tab, then Health tab, and you'll find Dragon Chat in there. Okay, quiz.
Season quiz.
Yes. It is still only 5 questions. I haven't gone mental because I could have made about 15, but we'll go with 5. Okay?
Okie doke.
Sorry. Just have to get the iPad so I can't see the questions. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Question 1.
Yep.
In our pre-season Rex Coast tour, we drew 2-2 with Chelsea at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. But which other Premier League team did we draw 1-1 with at Harder Stadium in Santa Barbara? Was it Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth or Wolves?
Bournemouth.
Oh, I saw the realisation in your eyes when I said Bournemouth. Would you have got it if I wouldn't have give you options?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure whether to put them in or not because I think it was on the first episode of the documentary, so I wasn't.
But I remember, but I just could not remember the team. So yeah.
Okay,
options are good.
Question 2, no options. Okay. On the opening day of the season, we beat Wycombe Wanderers 3-2. Who scored our first goal of the League One campaign in that game? And it was on the documentary the other day.
Max Cleworth.
Correct. Well done. That was good. Well worked out, that. Question 3. In October, we beat Northampton 4-1 at the racecourse. It was the only time we scored 4 in a league game all season. But who scored the first and last goals in that game? You have options.
Good.
Don't worry. Was it Ryan Barnett, James McLean, Jack Marriott, or Elliot Lee?
Jack Marriott. Elliot Lee. Jack Marriott. Oh, just Jack Marriott.
Okay. You can swap to Elliot Lee if you want.
No, because I don't think that's right either. So just Jack Marriott.
Okay, they were both wrong. It was James McLean.
Do you know what? As soon as you said James McLean, I thought it's James McLean, but then I thought Jack Marriott, and yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Darn it.
So was he your third choice in that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wrong on all counts.
Wrong on
I
all
think.
counts. Yeah.
Okay. Question 4. In January, we signed Sam Smith from Reading. Apart from Charlton, can you name one team he scored against after coming to the racecourse? I've cut Charlton out of that question for obvious reasons because we've already mentioned it in this episode.
Wycombe.
Wycombe was one of them. Did you just throw that out or did you actually know?
I think I knew.
Okay, didn't sound like you knew. It just sounded like you went random.
I know,
but yeah, correct. So Northampton, Rotherham, Wycombe, Cambridge, and Burton, and Charlton, obviously. Question 5. You're on 3 out of 4. You're all right, yeah? You're doing all right. The one question you've got wrong is a James McLean question.
I know. Disgusting.
Mental.
I know.
Question 5. In our last game of the season, away at Lincoln, Elliot Lee scored to become our top scorer for the season. But who were the only team he scored against, home and away, this season? Was it Crawley Town, Burton Albion, Bristol Rovers, or Northampton? Just in case you're trying to rack your brains, he scored against all of them.
Northampton.
Northampton is incorrect.
Damn!
It was Crawley. Yes, it was Crawley. So, unlucky.
Oh.
Unlucky. You've done all right there. 3 out of 5. I think 3 out of 5 is your...
That's my ceiling.
It's your sweet spot.
My ceiling.
It's not your ceiling, I think, because you've gone above that. But it is it is what your go-to score, I think. 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
You do that quite regular. But yeah. So, but I think like I said, I feel like the episode was a lot of information that we had to cram in. We sorted the lights as well. For anyone watching on YouTube, the lights have remained on for the full episode. But yeah, look, thanks very much for joining us. We do really appreciate it. Next week will be a little bit more relaxed, I think. We should have less to talk about next week, so we can take a little bit more time on each topic. So I hope it wasn't rushed.
Well, you say we might not have a lot to
God
talk,
knows what happens.
We've got a week before we record again, and anything can happen in a week. We could have like 3 signings. No, we won't, because it doesn't open till the 1st. So we won't even have signings.
No, we won't. No, we won't.
You can sign free agents, can't you, at the moment? You can sign free agents anytime during the season.
Yeah, but it's quite unlikely you've got a free agent now, isn't it? Because if they're a free agent, they probably would have been released ages ago.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. No, maybe not.
Who knows?
I don't know. Anyway.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week to find out. It's not like it's like a cliffhanger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, look. See you next Monday. Enjoy your week. Bye-bye.
Bye.